Evening, I'm back. And I actually forgot to say it. Like every day, it's time to talk day today. So, our wonderful guest for this Warriors of Attraction special, we've got Kate May, a UK-based person as well. So even better. We're gonna be talking about all sorts. But first, please like our pages, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get to know you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to invite my co-host, Anthea Morphetis, onto the show. So please don't judge her. She's kind. She's kind-hearted. I may not, but who knows? Hello, Anthea. Oh, I think I've lost her already. Are you there?
Oh, yes. I'm here.
No, we haven't got Anthea Morphetis. We've got the robotic Anthea. But either way, what we'll do is...
Am I here? Yeah. What's going
no,
on?
you're not. Oh, yeah.
No. Yes, I am.
Oh, this is going to be a fun stream. But...
Am I here?
I can hear you. Do you know what?
Yeah?
You're talking. Oh, now I can.
Yeah?
There you go.
Yes.
You were just talking, but your lips weren't moving. There you go.
Oh, okay.
Right. We are going to play our promo video. And like I said, subscribe, everyone. Let's get these views up because we've got a really good show planned up, which has only been planned literally 30 seconds ago. So there you go. It's a surprise for us all. So we will see you in about 30 seconds. Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Welcome to Mental Health Warriors, Kate.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Anthea.
Welcome. It's so good to have you here. This is really exciting. Really exciting. Kate, do us a favor. Give us a little bit of your background and what you're about, what you do, so we all know.
Okay, so I'm a life coach. I work with hypnosis and NLP and eye movement therapies. I'm in Cheltenham in Gloucestershire. And I work with all sorts of people. I do have a history of addiction, but I've been in recovery for nearly 10 years. So I do attract a lot of people who've got some, alcohol issues, drug issues, that sort of thing. But I also work a lot with anxiety, PTSD, trauma, limiting beliefs, bad memories, bit of everything, really.
Cool.
So would you say you're Mary Poppins then?
Oh, I'd love to be Mary Poppins. I've got a lot in my bag, though. Yeah. So there's lots of tricks I can pop out every now and again. Yes.
Excellent.
I've never asked that question. But in the comments already, we've got Cynthia Howell. She's an absolutely amazing person. She's tuned in from YouTube. We've got a Facebook user via Mental Health Warriors group. Hello, all happy to see you guys. I ain't got a clue who that is. So identify yourself. That's what we need to do. Yeah, we need to identify them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I just seen your comments saying that we need to log in to be able to, or create an account to be able to see us as the actual warriors and not just the Facebook user. Yes, exactly. I took note of that. I need to do that myself because it seems that I come up as a Facebook user and I didn't realize that.
Yeah, you've done that with me many times, haven't you?
I have. Slap on the hand, my darling.
Right. Yeah. Well, Before we dive into what you're good at, I think we should take you right back to who Kate really it was, shall I say, growing up.
Growing up, well, I was a happy girl. Came from a really good family, went to great schools and everything. I always knew there was something that wasn't quite right, but it wasn't until I got a lot older that things started to show their face, you know.
Okay.
So I went through a bereavement. One of my sisters passed away back in 2004 in the tsunami on Boxing Day. And that seemed to be my trigger for going for the alcohol, big style. I would go to work, I would come home, I would shut the door, and I would just drink the night away until I went to sleep, to blackout or whatever. And at the time, I had a child. I was a single mum, and that went on for years and years and years. I just became this party animal, dipped into cocaine, other drugs, ecstasy, smoked weed, that sort of thing, until I started getting really ill. And so then I actually was able to find somewhere to go and get help, but I always relapsed. I would always fall back into it. I always thought, oh, it's all right, I'll just have another glass. I'll have another glass. Everything will be fine. But little did I know in the background, my son's suffering, my family is suffering because, I'm just, I don't know, ebbing away, I suppose.
So this is me talking from experience now. When I was 11 years old, I don't want to say this, but my pathetic, abusive, narcissistic mother, she, every time I came home from school, whether it's like at 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I always came in and she already downed a bottle of wine. So she was into a second one. But she then brought me up from the age of 11 to know that alcohol was the answer to absolutely everything. Can I ask why?
Addiction. So she had the disease of addiction, and that's just her way of explaining herself, I would have thought,
Yeah.
And also, I mean, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, and it probably have, and probably most of the viewers have noticed this too. Every film you watch or anything to do with like the TV, they always show people coming home and pouring a glass of wine. Or if they're going to go and have fun, it's always let's go and get rat-assed and go and, just drink the night away and and it's always, I've always seen that. And I personally am not an alcohol drinker. It's just something that's never really resonated with me. I do drink alcohol once if someone offers me a glass of wine, I will have a glass, but it's not something that I would ever go out. I wouldn't buy myself a bottle of wine and come home. It's just something I've never done. But I've always seen it. So there's this really big thing out there to say if there's stress going on, or you've had a long day at work, or anything that's happening in your life, people turn to alcohol. Now, one thing I noticed during the pandemic when the first lockdown happened, where I was living, I remember the first day I came out to go and put my rubbish out, as in like when they come and collect all the rubbish. In my area, it was every 2 weeks. They'll collect the glass, the, whatever it was, the cardboard and the rest of it, plastics. And so I think when the lockdown happened, we'd had 2 weeks until they came along. And when they did come, I remember going outside to put my rubbish and looking at all my neighbors, and there was stacks and stacks of bottles of wine. And my eyes popped out of my head. I was like, whoa, what's going on? And I actually walked down the whole road. It was a close, so it was dead end road. Went to the other end and looked at everybody's front of their house. And I'd never seen so many bottles of wine in my whole existence. Like, to the point I called my mum and I said, Mum, I don't know if it's just my road, if something's going on. And she said, no. We've heard bottles after bottles after bottles being put outside. And I thought, wow, look at that. People have been asked to stay at home or told to stay at home, whichever way you want to look at it. And everyone has turned to alcohol. Why? I really wanted to understand and get my head around it. I mean, I still haven't got my head around it. I haven't had an actual answer that actually that I can say, okay, that makes sense. So can anyone enlighten me on this? Is there anything that why it's so many people just think that having alcohol will make a difference to their world?
I think a lot of people, there was a lot of stress, wasn't there? There has been a lot of stress and a lot of panic. There's a lot of fear over the whole COVID thing. And I think whiling your day away in the house, it was easy to say, oh, let's just get a glass of whatever at any time. There was no 6 o'clock, it's fine. You know, we finished a day at work, whatever. I think it was just easy. And there was nothing, wasn't really much for anybody to do.
No.
I mean, personally, I loved putting my recycle bin out because there was nothing in it really apart from a tin tin or whatever, you know. I felt very proud of myself. But yes, I actually saw and heard the same sort of things that you did. No doubt everybody did. Yeah,
it was big. And it's amazing how they portray on TV to be the thing to turn to. I mean, I can say, like, you know, I was very much addicted to weed for many, many years. And the same thing, like you said earlier on, Kate, you think that you've just kind of, you know, you stopped and you can just get on with it. And then something happens and then you turn and you end up doing it again. And I mean, I come off of that myself. Just because of my own realizations and my own understanding, and because of the journey that I've been on personally, I was able to come away from all of that. But I know how easy it is to be able to say, oh, I'm going through this and feel that anxiety and think, okay, let's just have a spliff. That will make it better. But I suppose I come to that understanding now where I think to myself, and I ask myself, what's the feeling that's going to come across me and what do I need to deal with the next day? And when I think of it, I think, oh, I've got way too much to do, so I don't do it. So like I can stop myself. But I suppose, you know, I think having somebody to turn to or a coach that can help you through that is probably the easiest and best way, because you have someone you're accountable to. Also, I mean, I've probably got a different strength within me compared to most, and I've understood that about myself. But in general, I do find it really disheartening when I watch anything to do with a program or a film, and I watch everyone just, they always incorporate alcohol, and I just want to phone and just say, stop doing that. Like it's not, the world isn't about that. We can actually have a successful day without having alcohol, without turning to some kind of drugs, without turning to any kind of pills. We can actually do it ourselves. And it really, I mean, I say all, it's not that all it takes, but one of the main things that makes a huge difference is to have a coach, to have someone that can support you and is there for your well-being. And every time you want to pick up a glass of wine, or every time you feel you're going to go and have a smoke, or you're going to go and buy something, or you can turn to that person and you can send a message and have that 5-minute conversation, which will be such a massive difference. But they don't promote this on TV, do they? They promote have a glass of wine.
Come on, Anthea, don't get me started.
Yeah.
Don't get me started with the media, please don't. But yeah, Cynthia said, I think the question is, why alcohol and drugs versus something else?
Right.
Yeah, then obviously she put, I think a lot of addictions have to do with environment.
Yes.
Yeah, they can be. Yeah. I mean, it depends with, you know, but there are a lot of people who are sat at home now. They could be watching this and they're just sat on their own, and it's something they've done for company. You know, I'll have a glass of wine. And in fact, with me, alcohol ended up being my best friend.
Yeah.
You know, it's a crazy thing to say, but these drugs, because alcohol is classed as a drug, do become being your best friend. And another thing, you know, I had to change when I suddenly decided, right, that's it, I want to get clean. I stopped going to the pub. I stopped hanging around with addicts that, you know, that I was spending my time with. I stopped doing things so that I could sort my life out.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it comes down to environment again, doesn't it, Kate?
Sorry?
It comes down to environment. It's putting yourself around the right. I done a live yesterday actually about this, and I said it's so important who you surround yourself with, because if you are like you just said, you know, it does become your best friend, because that's what it was for me as well. It was like it was my friend. You know, when I'm by myself, I can just sit there and I can, rather than smoke a cigarette or it's something else that I can have. But we were friends in that sense. It's like, well, you calm me down, you put me in a state of not being able to think about nothing. Actually, I can appreciate this, but you know, the long-term effects was completely the opposite to that. You're now in anxiety, you're now getting paranoid, and you can't function at your highest level. You can't do the things that you think you can do, the things you want to do, but actually if you hadn't had that in your system, you'd be a lot more aware, a lot more, your vibration would be at a higher level. You'd be able to function at a higher level, and everything else would fall into place easier. But you just think that by doing this is actually helping you. And in that moment, it could help you to a certain degree because you don't have to think about things. But actually, you could turn to meditation, and that will be even more helpful because you're quieting your mind and you don't have to think. You can teach yourself to quieten your mind and come to a stage where you get answers to your problems rather than being caught up in your problems, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. If you make yourself busy, you know, sometimes as well, you know, like you don't need to just go home from work and just sit around. You can get an app on your phone that, you know, does HIIT workouts, or, you know, start exercising, or make sure you go and meet a friend, go for a walk, pick up the phone, talk to somebody. There's lots of online courses you can do, and some of them are free. So, you know, there's all sorts of things that we can do.
But also,
sorry, carry on.
Yeah, but also, though, going back to what you just said about fitness and staying healthy, as good as that is, that can also be a problem as well. Because through all this pandemic as well, there's exercising, but then there's over-exercising. And that can also be a drug as well. Yeah, because now recently, our 10-year-old genius, he's got this obsession now where because obviously he can solve Rubik's cubes, he can, and he's now got that mindset where everything is about that cube, everything's about Rubik's cubes. Where to the point now he's starting to invite that obsession into his health, his hygiene, and like, no, we can't do that. So the point that obsession is now starting to take over his life. So this is why me and his mum, we're not being selfish, but we've actually put that 24-hour ban on him to even think about a Rubik's cubes, because he's got no connection towards it today. Because that's what we're doing. We're taking action before it actually escalates.
Yeah, because there's a balance, isn't there, of things?
Yeah, there's a balance.
Yeah, because you know what you just said about exercising. I went into my archive and it came along when I was younger. I was obsessed with staying slim, and I was really obsessed by it to the point where I would exercise. I'd get up in the morning, and I had two small children at the time, and I would wake up at 7 o'clock. I'd do an hour exercise, and I wouldn't eat all day, and because I was so frightened that if I ate something, I would put the weight on from doing the exercise in the morning, and then I'd put my children to bed at 8 o'clock, and 9 o'clock I'd do another exercise, and I was down to like nearly 6.5 stone, and I was absolutely tiny, like literally breaking, like you could flick me in that sense. I was very fragile, but to me, it was like the best thing in the planet. In my mind, there was no fat on my body. It was amazing. But I would pass out all the time because there was no substance in my body. There was nothing going in there. And that was the obsession and the addiction to exercise, and my mind saying to me, well, if you eat something, you're just going to gain weight. So you just don't eat. But then I had to come to a realization that now I've got a 5 and a 6-year-old picking their mum up from the floor every couple of hours because she keeps on passing out, you know. Wow. But it's amazing what we do to ourselves just to kind of please the eye as such, or because we think that it's the best way to be. And actually there's it's amazing how that we can become so unbalanced, is what I'm saying, in such an easy way, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it is really easy to do that.
Yeah, so I want to go back. When you got obsessed with these substances, do you know what the trigger was?
The thing is with me, growing up in the 70s, there was always alcohol around. Yeah. So alcohol, it was in people's front rooms, there was a little bar area and everything. I grew up with it basically thinking, oh, that's just what everybody does every day. Yeah. And so as I went through life was really, until I had my son, was just a big booze up. It really was. Alcohol was every single day of my life. I probably did have the odd day off, but that was probably because I felt a little rough. At one point, I went to live in the Algarve the second time around, and I was with my son's dad at the time. We were like, we need to get back to England because we're turning into alcoholics, But it's for me, that trigger of my sister dying was the big thing. That really was the big thing that put me over the edge. I didn't I was drinking too much anyway. She would say to me when she was alive, and so would other members of my family, you are drinking too much. It's a daily thing, and it's like you're tiddly by 7, and but that was the main trigger. That sort of unconsciously, I think I went to buy 3 bottles of wine every day for quite a long time, would shut the door at night and just start drinking.
So it's and you're so right that, I mean, I didn't grow up in the 70s, but I do have an awareness of how much alcohol's always been around and how it does become normal in people's lives, and people just think that's what it is. They watch their parents come home and drink alcohol, and they go to you go to the pub and you see everyone's drinking, or you go out to a club and everyone's drinking, and everywhere you turn, everyone's just drinking. And it's like, oh, why am I not drinking? Or you see somebody say, or you hear it, oh my God, I had a glass of wine, I feel so much better. And it's very easy to fall into that. And I suppose to find that trigger is not the easiest thing when you've grown up with it. So the trigger is, I suppose, is the fact that it's always been around you.
Yeah, that's it. Always been around you. It's very hard to not do it, when you're just used to that.
Absolutely.
I think as well, at the moment, even with my son growing up, he's 25 now. But I've noticed when him and his mates go out, they binge like crazy. It's so much binge drinking going on now. Yeah. You don't just go out and have a few pints. You go out and you get absolutely plastered to the point where the next morning, they're getting up at lunchtime, they're stinking of spirits and everything else. They've been doing all the top shelves and crazy stuff.
See, I remember I was in college, and it was I was about 17, and I was a little rebel then. I really was, to the point I actually skipped college, the afternoon college, and I actually went to my mate's house, and this was about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I just got pissed. I just got pissed. And that was the very first time when I came home and I threw up, which I never threw up alcohol before. But with the amount I actually drank, no. It's one of them.
But I think sometimes it's a good thing. And I think when you have an experience like that and it sticks with you, it actually helps you. Because I had an experience when I was 12. And there was loads of us got together and we went and bought all this alcohol. It was the first time I'd ever drunk, and I was so violently sick for 2 days that's my reason has always been why I'd never picked up alcohol really after that, because I was so traumatized by the experience and I was in so much trouble from it. So every time someone put alcohol near me, I'd always have a flash of what happened. So I just kind of didn't go there. But I remember someone saying to me with cigarettes also, and I think I don't know if it's a book that I read or something that I'd heard, but if you'd sat and smoked a cigarette after a cigarette after a cigarette until you're physically sick, you wouldn't smoke another cigarette again. So I think but it doesn't always work, because like Kate just said, there's the binge drinking where they put all this alcohol in them, feel absolutely wrecked, and the next day like can't even move, but yet and say I'm never going to do that again, and then 2 weeks later they're doing the same thing again.
Doing it again. And they're all dressed up to the nines, off they go, you know.
There was that nickname going round about smokers as well, weren't there? Where human chimney. That's what it is. Human chimney.
I'd heard the same thing, Anthea, about if you smoke one after the other, and then you'll be sick, and then you'll never have another cigarette ever again. I never wanted to try it, and I actually only gave up smoking last year. And that
wow! Oh, well done.
Yeah. So the only thing I do now is I have the odd vape and black coffee, but even that I limit myself to, because I don't want to be getting my hit from black coffee every day.
No, this is the thing, isn't it? There's so many things that we could put in our body that just that is a drug in some sort of way, isn't it? And it's amazing that so many of us rely on this and we don't even know we're relying on it on a daily basis, and I wonder, it's quite interesting because you see the people who are completely free of all of this and how they thrive in life. And I suppose it shows that what we're putting in our bodies actually stops us, in a sense, from actually being the best version of ourselves. Because I said, I had a realization a few weeks ago, and I said, isn't that funny? If I really did love myself, I would never pick up a cigarette again.
Yes. That's a really good statement. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I really and I thought, wow, it's so wow. So I must not have that full-on love for myself because I still pick up a cigarette.
Yeah. See, I can admit I do still drink. I do drink alcohol, but I don't drink as much as I used to. Because obviously I ain't got my mother in my life anymore, which is brilliant. So there you go.
Well, and that's the thing. If you've got that awareness and that, it's about understanding where you're at with it and where you've come from that journey to where you're going with it, and if you find it becomes a problem, then I think it's the best thing to reach out and not to be scared to reach out and speak about it, because so many of us are frightened to say something, or it might look bad, and I through being a coach myself, I used to think, I can't say certain things because that will make it be that I'm not good at what I do. But actually, it's not that I'm not good at what I do. It's just that's a problem that I've got, but I've got knowledge and wisdom I can share with others that can implement these things that I know and these principles and ways that just because I haven't implemented them to the full of my knowledge doesn't mean another person can't and really benefit and make that change in their life, But it took me years to get to that, to realize that. And I would hide away from my own talent because I thought I I can't. How can I say this if I'm not doing a certain thing? But actually, it's not about me. I'm there to help somebody else. So if I can help them and what I've learned, and they can implement it and make that difference to their life, then that's a brilliant thing, you know?
Yeah, 100%. We're not perfect coaches, you know, we're definitely not perfect. We've got our flaws, but that's what makes us good coaches too.
Yeah.
Isn't it? You know, and the knowledge, like you said, and if we can pass that on. I was talking to Adam earlier, and I love the way that Mental Health Warriors has, you know, originated. I love it. It's fantastic. And that sort of notion that we all have is that nobody should suffer on their own. You know, there is help out there, and you shouldn't be ashamed to reach out for it whenever you need it.
Exactly. Yeah. And this is what we're doing. This is our medicine. This is our recovery. And and this is why me and Caroline came together, and we actually decided we need to host panel shows where she's going to host a show next Friday to talk about addiction, and I'm going to talk about, which is I think 2 weeks after that, talk about communicating with our inner self, because we don't do enough of that.
True.
Or we do it we communicate with our inner self, but we communicate negatively. Our self-talk is very negative, right?
Yes.
So actually realizing and understanding what's going on in that inner talk, I think, is really what we need to highlight. Because a lot of us just think, like, we see alcohol everywhere, we think it's normal. We don't realize that we're being so horrible to ourselves in what we're saying, and just in the smallest little things that you go to do, and you call yourself an idiot, or you go to do something, you think, oh no, you know, I'm not even going to bother trying to do that because I can't do that. Or, you know, there's so many things that we say to ourselves daily that blocks us and stops us. But if we can really highlight what it is to have that communication in our inner self that is going to positively affect us rather than negatively affect us, then we can really start turning the course of our life around and make it be a better, a happier way of living and being, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's something that a lot of people need to learn, for sure.
Well, we're all learning though, aren't we?
And I think that's the thing. Life is a lesson. Every day we're learning something new, even if we don't think we are consciously. We are picking up new stuff all the time.
Yeah, they say between 7 and 10, the sponges. Now thinking about it, that's just a lot of bollocks, to be honest. I think we're always sponges. We're always picking up on things at any age.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, you know, from in our childhood, from, you know, birth to 7, we absorb so much stuff and so many limiting beliefs and bad habits and everything else, and a lot of that stuff keeps us stuck today. But often we just don't realize it, you know.
No.
But that's
I'd say probably. Yeah, that definitely. I mean, like it goes so deep, doesn't it? When you really think about what happens and how it does keep us stuck, and the reasons why we reach out to alcohol, and the reasons why we do reach out to drugs, or even a coffee, or even a cup of tea, or something that gives us that stimulation of some way. There's so many things. Or we said earlier on, the exercise or whatever it is. It all stems from when we were little and what we've heard. And yeah, well, you know what? Sometimes I just wish we could wave this magic wand and reprogram ourselves in seconds, and then everything, this download happens of all the goodness of who we really are, so we can just become like and do everything we want to do. Because, like you said, even as coaches, we're not 100%. You know, we've got our flaws, and there's things that we even stop ourselves from doing because of our own limiting beliefs from when we were kids, and to turn, you know, go into addiction and being able to come away from that, it's not easy, man. It's not
No.
easy in this world, you know.
No, it isn't. It's a battle, but it's a good battle to win. You know, you're always working on it daily, but yeah, it is totally possible.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So what has COVID actually taught you in the last 2-3 years, however long this has been going on?
Me personally, I think it's a lot more about taking care of who I am, what I'm doing with my daily actions, who's around me, what can I do for them without, going without without hindering me or hurting me, because there's so many of us. I used to be very codependent way back, and so I would do so much for other people and nothing for myself. And then, of course, my boundaries were very low. And, I think I gave somebody my last fiver once, when I was actually skint because I just didn't know how to say no. But over the years, I've learned all this stuff. And I know it's all about being a little bit selfish, taking care of me first, and then I'm good enough to go with helping everybody else. And
Do you think you've learned a lot of that because of the fact that you had to stay at home and be a lot more away from people?
I think I think that's true actually, in a way, but because I know how to do that stuff, whereas a lot of people out there don't know how to do that. They haven't got your training, my training, Adam's knowledge or training, so I think those are just my reminders to myself, hang on, what about your exercise? Can you learn something new? Do you have a self-care bundle for yourself every single day? What do you do to look after yourself? Are you eating well? Blah blah blah. It goes on and on and on, doesn't it?
Yeah. Did you find it easy? How did you find it? Like, I don't know if you've got people at home with you, or but so how did you find the experience of, especially the first 3 months? How did you find that in general?
I had so much to catch up on. So I was like, yeah, let's catch up on everything, because there was just this backlog of stuff I needed to do. And that was great. And I still got up at a decent time and went to bed at a decent time. I was still quite disciplined because I do have this thing about parenting myself. It's like, well, what do you need to do today, Kate? What can you prioritize here? What's the top 3 that need doing? So I was quite lucky because I had so much to catch up on. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Well, with my kids, they know that I'm not just their parent, I'm also their coach, where I'm actually teaching them life stuff, what they need to learn for when they grow up. Because even though they're 10 and 8, they're still preteens. And I'm getting the attitude daily from them. No wonder I'm losing my hair already.
No, you're growing your hair. You're not losing it.
Well, I'm growing it in places.
No, you're growing it. It's all good. You're going to have lots and lots and lots of hair, Adam.
Well, depends what colour.
We can make it blonde. We can make it blue. We can make it green. Got little streaks all the way through. We're like all different colours.
Yeah.
I've only
get rid of the grey.
Oh no, I don't like grey anymore. No, I'll never go grey. Never. Never. Mm-mm.
It's funny actually. You should say that. My sister, I spoke to one of my sisters earlier, and she's like, wow, getting older, my hair's going grey. I tried to dye it today, but it's just not worked properly, and all this stuff. It's all about getting, going grey and getting old. And I was like, hang on a minute, I'm like 50. She's only about 45. That's not old. It's just,
Oh wow.
Whoa.
Not old, no.
Ray.
And 50 is not old either. Do you know what? I know this is a completely different subject to what we're speaking about now, but do you guys remember being like 15 and thinking of somebody at 50 and thinking, oh my God, that's so old, right?
Yeah.
And then coming to this age now going, well, it's not old. Like, that's so young. I see 40, 45, 50 as really young still.
Yes. Yeah. Especially when, you hear of people passing away at like 97, 104. You're like, oh, yeah, I'm only halfway through my life.
Yes.
Well, there's a saying that goes around now
Exactly.
where you're only as old as you feel.
Yeah. So you look in the mirror.
Even though my 8-year-old
in the mirror.
Even though my 8-year-old daughter keeps calling me ancient, the cheeky little shit she is. But yeah. No, it's all good.
Until you look in the mirror and you see all these grey hairs everywhere. You go, okay, that's just because like I used the wrong shampoo and it stripped out the colour of my hair. I have an excuse for these things.
Yeah.
No.
And I always used to convince myself, I think it's quite a good explanation, really. What are all these wrinkles on my face? They are the map of my world. They're the bits of laughter.
I love that.
Tears,
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, they're the map of my world.
I've never seen it like that.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Oh, I love that. That's actually made me smile so much that my cheeks actually brilliant.
But it's great, that one. I like it. Yeah. So you should use that one. These are the map of my world. Don't go and pump your face with loads of Botox.
Oh God, no! I won't even. You know what? I was having this conversation the other day, and I was saying, from the side view, I don't know what it's called, but my friend told me what it's called. But it's like where it goes a little bit saggy under your chin from just being over 40, right? So she was like, "Oh, you can have this done," and she showed me all this stuff, and I was like, "Whoa! You can't show me that stuff. I'll pass out. I don't like it." But she was like, there's no such thing as growing old gracefully. You need to like put this stuff in you. And I said, do you know what? I just can't even dream. It won't even. It's to me, I just can't even think about something like that. But I know how easy, and I think that's another thing when it comes to addiction, where people get addicted to keeping this young looking face. And I'm not knocking it in any way, because it's everyone's preference to what it is, to what they want. However, I think you've got to be very careful that you don't fall into an addiction of having it done continuously and feeling unworthy just because you might have a few lines and I just think, whatever's going on under here, whatever's going on up here, to me, it's like, well, like you said, and I absolutely love that. That's the map of my world. I mean, I wouldn't have said it before just now, but to me, when I would have said before, like, this is just me. I've lived my life at the end of the day, and I'm still living my life. But it is very easy again for people just to turn to an injection to get rid of this line. And actually, my daughter said to me, it was sometime last year, we were abroad, and she was talking to a friend who had Botox done, or they had, the line. I mean, I've got the same line here, and she's got one of those lines, and she was only 19, and her friend had said, "Oh, I've just had this injection done to get rid of it." And she said to me, "Oh, Mum, look, they've just had it done. Look how good it looks. I want to get rid of mine." And I was like, the nice thing with my daughter is that she'll listen to anything I say to her. She'll listen, because it's not very often I say no. So when I say no, she knows there's a big reason behind it. So I explained to her, our third eye is right here. If you inject that side of it, you're starting to mess with your vision, the fact of being able to have those, like being able to create those pictures in your mind's eye. You're starting to mess with that. And it's not just that, that's your brain, that's everything around here. You're putting injections there that is it's not gonna have a positive effect at the end of the day. It might look good on the outside, but think of the long-term side of this. It's not. And you can get addicted to that because you think, oh, another little line, let me go and get another injection. Oh, another little line. And thank goodness she took it for what I said to her, and she never spoke
Good.
about it again and just won't go there. But imagine like the influence of people, friends, to say, you know, oh, just try this, or oh, just do this, or just do that, and actually really want people to really take on board that you have the powers to do what you want to do, and it's not about what other people are doing. And don't drop your sense of worthiness because somebody else says to do something. You know, really take back and surround yourself with those people and know the difference, that if something seems to be unsure in your mind, it's because it's not right to do it, you know. So yeah, speak to somebody who has that bit more, who is older, who can guide you in the right direction, because it's so easy to fall into a category, or to be able to go to friends that they think that what they're doing is just fun, but actually it's detrimental to you, really, you know, and it makes a huge difference to your daily decisions and what you're making every day, and your actions, and how you can progress in life, even down to just having a little bit of Botox, you know?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that, Anthea, because I've now got it into my kids' heads that you were born with a voice box, so bloody well use it.
Yeah, and you don't, and like Kate said earlier on, like, you know, saying yes when you know that actually it's going to hurt you by saying yes, but you say yes because you feel bad. And we're not responsible for anyone else, we're responsible for ourselves, you know. And just because somebody's come to us, you know, we really do have to find that selfish side in a good way, not in a narcissistic way, but in the best way we can find that selfish way to be able to look after us, like how we look after our children. We need to do the same for ourselves, you know.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So would you believe in the saying, you have to be cruel to be kind?
No, I don't believe that. No.
I don't think so either.
I think there's ways. I think there's ways to go around. If to be, I don't know how cruelty makes anything be kind. It's a completely two separate things. One's being cruel and one's being kind. You can't bring the two together and make it be okay and say, oh, that's, you know, I've done this because of this. That's justifying something horrible to say, oh, it's okay because now it's
yeah. There's
I
discipline,
agree.
isn't there? There's discipline, and you can discipline yourself, you can discipline your children, as long as it's not in a cruel way. I don't know, I might even Google it later, that saying. Where did that originate from? You've got to be cruel.
We need to find that out, don't we?
Yeah, somebody Google it and leave the answer in the comments. They're on it. Oh, Adam's the quickest typist I've ever seen.
My internet's taking forever. I'm just trying to get there.
Hamlet.
Oh,
really?
Yeah, by William Shakespeare. Yeah, it says here, to be cruel to be kind is to cause someone pain for his or her own good. The phrase is used by Hamlet after he has berated his mother for her infidelity, or whatever it's called, to the memory of her deceased husband.
Oh, I say.
Wow.
There you go. A little bit of history for you ladies.
Wow. See, he's got a lot to answer for, right?
Going back to the
What's that? Well, I just think he has a lot to answer for, Adam. Like, what is that? To cause pain on somebody just because they... No, I don't agree with that.
No. Wow.
No.
Just learn to
look. You know what? If somebody does something, in a positive way, right? Because if someone does something that is is unlawful or is, you know, hurtful, they have to live with that for the rest of their life, mentally, emotionally. And yes, the other person that's received that also has to deal with that. But you're not going to go and do something horrible to turn around and say, well, that was for your own good. I suppose back in the day they used to smack a lot, didn't they? A lot of smacking.
Yes.
And they would say that, well, the smacking is because you know, you need to learn. But I still can't get my head around that. I don't know how hitting someone is learning and doesn't. I don't know.
I remember at school, and some of the boys would get sent to the headmaster's office to have the DAP, which was an old sports trainer whacked on their backsides. You know,
or the ruler. My mum used to have. They used to bring a I think it was a ruler, she said, and they had to put their hands out and they would get whipped across the hands. And when she was telling me, I was like, I felt like literally I'm actually going to be sick. Like the thought of someone being hurt in that way and having to stand and take it just because they spoke out of line. It's like, I'm so glad I'm not. I don't know if there's past lives or if there isn't or how it works, but I'm just glad that didn't happen in this time that I've been alive and I'm aware of, you know. I don't think I would have coped.
See, I'm glad I never experienced any of that.
No, I'm sure there's some terrible memories for people, you know, over that sort of thing. Anyway, just I'm saying anyway to change the subject.
Let's change it. Exactly. Right. We can go down this little rabbit hole here.
We just. But yeah. So what's next for Kate? Like, have you brought a book out or something?
No.
Are you going to?
Maybe at some point, but people always say, "Oh, you should write a book. You should with your life."
We just should.
Well, come on then, let's do it.
There's so much more to it. We probably make people go, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh the poor girl." But that's all in the past, and I really like to sort of live in the here and now and look forward to the future. So for me, I'm working on marketing online. I do quite a lot locally as well, with clients coming to me. So I don't know. And then I'm just going to focus on that, really. But I really could do with a holiday. So I'm thinking about 2 holidays this year.
Yes.
Might even do Benidorm just for a bit of a laugh. I'll have to stay out of the bars unless I'm getting a Coke or something. But that and maybe a couple of weeks. I don't know. Just lying on a beach.
Yeah.
Now we've got more freedom, you know. There's so much more freedom now. So
which is nice.
I'll probably end up in Cornwall down at Newquay watching the surfers.
But that's beautiful. It's actually, but it's beautiful there, isn't it?
Take a tent and go for it. Have you guys got anything planned?
Don't tempt me. I will just go. Take a tent. That's the way forward. Yeah, I would. I'd just go and do it. Actually, might order myself a tent.
I can do something.
Sorry, go on.
I'll pitch mine. I've got 2 actually, 2 biggies. So I'll pitch those 2. And you guys just come on in.
Yeah.
Oh, when are you? Can you give me a date, please, so I can come?
Yeah,
I'm ready.
Come on.
Yeah, we're taught behind the scenes.
I'm ready
in the week.
Right, but take into consideration, I've no transport. I ain't got a car.
Bus. Get the bus. There's no excuse.
All right.
Come on, I'm ready. I'm ready for another adventure.
I do. I love the outdoors. I really do. I love it.
Yeah, me too. Fantastic. Is there any way we can? All right, let's talk about it after. Because I could just ask question.
Right. Oh my God.
Cool. Well, it's been a lovely discussion, and I think thank you so much for coming on with us today, Kate. Like really, really, really appreciated massively.
It's a
I think
pleasure. You guys are great, and I love what you're doing. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we love what you do. We love who you are and what you've brought to us today. And it's, it's such a beautiful thing to bring an awareness of, what addiction is about, and, how it's not just because being out there, so many people are affected, and it's not, you don't have to be ashamed of it. Like you said, you've done 2 years now where 10 years where you've been completely clean. So it is possible, and it's extremely possible for anybody who's going through any type of addiction. Just reach out to people, reach out and talk about it. You don't have to stay there. You don't have to be there. And just because you're there today, think in 2 years' time, you could have been completely on that journey to coming away from it. And, really doing what's good for you in your life, and not what's good for the alcohol and or for whatever it is that you're addicted to. So, yeah, we're here to be able to discuss and be open, and there's no judgment here, like it's just an open panel for us to be able to put our thoughts out there and how we can help in any way. So, yeah, if there's anybody that needs anything, please do reach out to us. We are here, and this amazing platform that I absolutely just have always adored, and
I adore this. I'm so glad Philip asked me to build this. I really do.
I'm so glad as well. See, what a legend.
He is. His legacy continues. And Kerry, she's just tuning in, but I'm sorry, but we're just wrapping up.
Love you, Kerry.
Doing a college work. Been doing a college work, but
well done, girl. Well done.
Yeah. Well, all I can say is a little bit of housekeeping. Please tune in tomorrow for 12 o'clock noon UK, the premiere of Maria Soul's show. I'm trying to think what it's called. The Hour of Love. That's what it's called. Ain't got a clue what that's all about. She's got a guest who brands himself the Slank. Don't ask, but I'm going to tune in anyway. Yeah. And if there's any last things you ladies want to say?
Thanks for having me.
God bless you. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. But that's it. I think I said what I wanted to say. And Adam, anything you'd like to say?
People subscribe. People share this. And Kate, I hope you come back.
I'd love to come back. Do you know, I have absolutely loved being on this. I know I was a bit shocked in the beginning when Adam said it was, streaming on LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, 3 Facebook things. I was like, you are joking. You didn't tell me that before.
Nope.
So, but I've loved doing this, and I really, brilliant.
Yeah, well, what I will do is I'll connect you, Kate, with Caroline, and obviously you two can talk about the addiction panel for next week. Yeah. And go from there. Because there's already at the minute 4 people on it, so you can be the 5th. So there you go.
Brilliant. Yes. Thank you.
Happy days.
There you go. Right. I'll let you lovely ladies go. I will play the sign-off video, and please tune in tomorrow. See you in a bit.
Bye.